mean, Carnival is 49 years old this year. How has it changed from when it started to where we are today?
Small to large. It's been an incredible, when you think of, 40 odd years ago, 500 people, one band, and now we're talking about 1.5 million people, 50,000 participants in costume and in bands and so on, 70, nearly 80 different performing units on the road, 3 million sequins. I could go on.
But I mean, also, Carnival has faced a bit of challenge in its time. One of it is the size. What are your thoughts on the future of Carnival?
The tradition is that it takes here in Notting Hill. You look at the streets behind me, they're not very wide, are they? And that's one of the problems. More and more people have come into this space, which doesn't increase. And those are the logistics that we have to deal with. But what we're doing is that we've gradually started to structure Carnival in a way that more people can enjoy it, but they don't have to come here today or on Children's Day yesterday. So for example, on Saturday we were in Hyde Park, one of the royal parks, with Panorama, which is a steel pan with steel orchestra competition. And that was a fantastic day out, much better for families. You can sit on the grass, have a bite to eat, and just listen to the music. And then the previous weekend we had the Carnival Costume Splash at Alexandra Palace in North London, and that's inside a huge arena. You can have a seat, have a drink, and watch all of these huge costumes that you'll see today on the lights, one after the other. So if you love costumes, you could just go to that, not come here. So we're just trying to give people more choices. For some people, there'll be no substitute for this fantastic day, with all the sound, with all the costumes and the crowd. So, for some people, that's Carnival. But for other people who like different aspects, we're finding different ways. And give you another example, the Calypso tent, which is the music of Carnival, has been going for the past month. So every week people can actually go and see live music, hear the compositions. And for people who are really into Calypso, that's actually the best place.
We look every year at where the pinch points are, where the overcrowding is, and it does tend to change. The levels of Carnival are fairly static at the moment. They haven't gone up over the last few years. They're about the same. But there is a push to widen the area, bring in more parts of London, make it a more London an event, and certainly with 2012 on the horizon, other boroughs are looking at carnivals and seeing how they can plan for 2012. There is an argument to say that there could be other parts of London that can host Carnival in different forms. But for Carnival in Notting Hill, I think it's always going to stay in Notting Hill. Everybody recognises Ladbroke Grove as the main part of Carnival, and I don't think it's ever going to move from there. It's a question of where else can accommodate it, and how safe that will be, and that's the big issue. It's one thing saying we need to make Carnival bigger, but only if it can be policed and stewarded properly, and we have the resources to manage it. And with the area that we've got and the numbers of people that are covered, we struggle.
This is a very huge event to put up with. I'm sure it costs a lot of money. What is funding like for Notting Hill Carnival?
We get a lot of support from the local boroughs, from the mayor's office, to pay for some of the essential things we need, like stewarding, policing, all that sort of thing. Of course, we always want to improve our sponsorship, and that comes from commercial sponsors. And the reason for that is so we can continue to improve things like our stages, our production facilities, our catering for VIPs, and just generally try to improve so that everybody enjoys Carnival even more than they do now.
Businesses in the area benefit from Carnival. What's frustrating for us as a local authority is that a lot of that money doesn't come back to the organisers, and the organisers still depend on public money to put their event on. We'd like to see a lot more money coming to the organisers directly from sponsorship and from whatever other means. But yes, there's been some work done on the economic impact of Carnival, suggesting that it's worth many millions of pounds. There's no real benefit to that to the organisers, and certainly it costs the local authorities to put carnival on, and it costs the police to actually police carnival. So when you look at the money coming in and the money that's spent, then the two don't work, the two don't marry up.
I mean, London is a very cosmopolitan city and is home to so many different cultures. In preparing for Carnival, what do you do to ensure that the whole community is inclusive?
Well, we work very closely with the police on issues like that. And because the Carnival goes across 2 areas, it also goes into the borough of Kensington and Chelsea as well. We work closely with Kensington and Chelsea. And what we do, we'll send out letters to all the residents beforehand, asking them to prepare themselves for Carnival. We'll send out letters to all the businesses, asking them to take steps that's necessary to keep the highways clear.
I mean, a lot of manpower must have been diverted to Carnival. How will that affect the general operation of the Metropolitan Police?
Yeah, but people often are under the misconception that the rest of the London boroughs have no police officers on them at all. That's not true. The police officers that are here are extra police officers. So people work on their days off, etc., to come here to police the Carnival. The policing levels on borough are exactly the same as they would normally be. So the same level of policing activity goes on across the rest of London. So people should be reassured about that.
In terms of the general public wanting to support or help the police to make this event successful, what can they do?
Well, really, what I want to put across is a crime prevention message. If we get small crimes like pickpocketing and minor thefts and things, that's a really irritating thing for people, and it really spoils their enjoyment of the event if they find that their mobile phone has been stolen. So what we try to do before the event and during the event is to get a message across to people saying, if you're coming, plan your journey so that you don't get lost, don't carry large amounts of cash and credit cards, and don't have mobile phones and jewellery on show, because if we can keep that minor crime down, then obviously everybody has a much better time. We're not dealing with petty thefts, etc.
There's a great atmosphere at the Carnival. It really shows that London is a very diverse city, and the good atmosphere, I think, is a sort of a business card. It's a good representation of what London has got to offer. It's also a major economic impulse for the area as well, where 1 million visitors come inside an area and spend the day during during the Carnival and contribute towards the local economy.
In your opinion, is Carnival been aging gracefully?
It has. It has been aging gracefully, but it has been changing as well. As you know, when Carnival started out, it was started out as a ethnic festival. It's now encompassed pretty much all nation, really. And when you go to Carnival, you see a really cosmopolitan group of people there. So it has changed significantly, and it's become quite a very well known and very established festival, and it has aged gracefully. Yes.
And the next Carnival, when would you begin to prepare for it?
Already started. Oh yes. Yep. The planning process for Carnival is month on month. So in August we're having meetings about Carnival 2009.
Wow.
And it's a standing agenda for the next Carnival. And we're also looking ahead to 2012. And for bigger changes in Carnival, we have a minimum of an 18-month planning cycle.
And what do you think an ideal Carnival will be, in your opinion?
An ideal Carnival is where everybody comes, has a great time, sees all the floats, enjoys some great food, and just really connects with their friends and has a great time. That's an ideal Carnival, and everyone gets home safe.
An ideal Carnival, I think the Carnival is very well run, and there are very little incidents considering that there's 1 million people descending on an area. I think the ideal Carnival would be a Carnival where everyone enjoys themselves, and we also have a nice bit of sunshine as well, and people go back and they think, yes, I'll return next year for the next Carnival.
An ideal Carnival is one that is problem-free. one that people have gone to and enjoyed, and you know, people going away from it, nobody being hurt, no one being subject to any illegality or theft, or whether it might be unlicensed street trading or being sold anything that is not as good as it ought to be.
An ideal carnival is a safe and trouble-free carnival.
Personally, for me, it's just one where everyone enjoys themselves, no matter why they come. For the, you know, if it's for the sound systems, for the food, for the steel bands, for the costumes, as long as everyone has a good time.
Today, London is a thriving and vibrant metropolis, and many credit Notting Hill Carnival for harnessing and growing this diversity. The Notting Hill Carnival is definitely something to celebrate. It's not just a party, it's about the spirit of this great cosmopolitan city.
Thank you.